Eric Bailey
and Nicole Smith
from Blood and Iron Martial Arts.
We're here today to talk to you about understanding measure.
In sword fighting, we talk a lot about measure.
For most of us, measure is a verb that means to ascertain the size or the amount of something by comparing it to an instrument or device marked in standard units. Now, in HEMA, it means something a little different.
In HEMA, we use the term measure to describe the range at which we can attack or be attacked by an opponent. Depending on the system or weapon you're using, there are several different types or ranges of measure.
In Capoferro's Rapier, for example, there are two, misura larga and misura stretta.
In Meyer's halberd, he describes short, medium, and long-range techniques.
The taller you are, the greater your measure. Eric can reach me long before I reach him.
Height can be a great advantage in a thrust situation. However, it only holds up insofar as I'm keeping her out of her measure and in mine.
However, once you're past the point, things even out a little bit.
Getting to know your measure is a really important skill, and it will change depending on the different types of steps you're taking.
An advancing step will be short but quick. A gathering step will take a little bit more time, but it'll increase your range. And a passing step is slower still, but it'll cover the most distance.
It's important to practice striking using all of these steps. The better you know your own measure, the easier it will be for you to estimate someone else's.
Here's a drill that we use to train for measure. You and your partner face each other. Get into stance. Find fingertip distance. Drop your arms. Person number one is going to advance or retreat. Change the distance between you. Person number two is going to use advancing, gathering, or passing steps to find that distance again. Touch fingertips. Now, if you lean forward or lean back, you can cheat at this drill, but that's not going to teach you anything.
Measure can be affected by which edge of the weapon you're using. This can be most easily seen with the longsword.
Short or false edge techniques will need to be thrown closer to make up for their lack of range. Notice the difference when I use my true edge. I can hit Eric in the head, no problem. If I switch that to my false edge, notice the difference in my range. Your stance can also affect your measure. A high stance is not going to cover as much distance as a low stance. Notice the difference between Eric and his high stance and stepping, and his range, how it increases when he gets into a lower stance. Understanding range or measure is an important skill in any martial art. It's difficult to master, but worth the effort. If you understand your measure better than your opponent, you'll have a distinct advantage.
The more refined your understanding of measure, the less you'll have to move and adjust before you attack. This will make your movement more efficient and give you a distinct advantage while reading your opponent's measure.
Being able to accurately assess your opponent's range is an invaluable skill. But remember, if you don't put in the practice, you won't get the result.